Good morning, children. Today I want to discuss with you the earth and its living world. Now you see these lessons actually in the textbook. How it looks. This is overall this earth we divided into the four spheres: atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere. That biosphere, and these are the spheres of the earth. Now let's we see that. See this lesson. What are the objective of these lessons? Lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, and biosphere. These are the four spheres of this lesson, and these are the objectives of this lesson. So you will learn about these all four spheres. Now I want to discuss with you that lithosphere, hydrosphere, and biosphere. One by one we will see that exact what is meant by the lithosphere. Lithosphere, it means that it is also called as the geosphere is also. It is a portion of the land. How much land is on the earth? Now you see that one picture I will show you that here. Overall, if you see the earth, it has the 1/3 part of the land is called as a lithosphere, and 2/3 part of the water that is called as a hydrosphere. Already you have studied this portion in the last lesson, that is in the first lesson, that is the introduction of the earth. Why the earth is called as a blue planet, that time you have studied that more than 70% portion of the water is covered by the water, and that is called as the hydrosphere. Now I want to show you the picture also in the textbook. See that this is a land portion it is shown, and this is a water portion. You see that. Now see that again when we study about the earth is one of the planet. Already you have studied that. And the structure of the earth, we will see that at the center portion it is the core. After that middle portion it is the mantle, and that is the outer side portion, that is the portion it is the crust. Now we see that exact the earth crust is made up of the soil and the rocks. The hard crust is called as the lithosphere. Lithosphere, it means what? Lithosphere means the solid land is there, and this is the 1/3 portion of the earth. This much it is the lithosphere. Now we see next. The lithosphere can be seen in the different forms on the land, that is on the earth. Means some land we see the grassy expanses, that is the grasslands are there on the earth. Some land it is the barren sand is there. Some land is occupied by the fields with the crops are there. Some land is occupied by the forests are there, and some land it is in the form of the mountains are there. This is this is the different, that is forms of the land. This is a different, that is a landmass of the earth, that is a lithosphere. Exact we will see in the textbook also. Now you see this. Clearly you see that this is a river, this is a plain, this is a hillock, this is a hill, valleys, and these are the pass, mountain, and the seashore, and that is the island. This is a different, that is a various landforms on the lithosphere, means on the earth. What is this there? Let's see that. Now this is overall, if you see that lithosphere, it means that is a land. It means that it is divided into the 7 continents. What is mean by continent? You know that where we live, in which continent we live? We live in the Asia continent. Now a continent is a vast continuous stretch of land. The questions may ask you, how many continents are in the world? What are their names? The first continent is the Europe. This continent is a very beautiful continent, and near about the 44 countries are there. Africa is one of the continent. It is the second largest continent in the world. In that continent is also more than 50, that is the 54 countries we will find it there. South America, North America, this is also 2 continents are there. That is the North America is near about the 80%. This continent is covered. South America, these continents also many countries are there. The Canada and the United States are there. Now Antarctica, it is also one type of the continent, which that is constitute the ice only there. And our India is also we have the first Indian expeditions to Antarctica. I mean, first time we reached on the Antarctica, 9th January 1982. Asia, it is one of the largest continent in the world, and more area in the more population in that continent. We see that Australia is the smallest continent. Sometimes the objective type questions also may ask you that which continent is the largest continent, which continent is the smallest continent. North America, South America, Africa, Europe, all these continents names you have to be remember and keep in mind that some characteristics I given you that go through that and you keep in mind that. 1/3 part of the Earth's surface is occupied by the lithosphere. Lithosphere is a one third parts of the Earth is there. On the lithosphere, the different landforms are formed. Just you have shown that different landforms are there. Somewhere I shown you that plains are there. First you understand what are the landforms are. The land is not even in all the places. Somewhere this is unevenness. Gives the different shapes to the land in the different places. And they are called the landforms. Means whatever the land on the earth, that land is divided into the different shape and size are there. Unevenness is there. Some land you find in the plains position. Plain means the flat part of the land is there. Somewhere we see the hills are there. Hillocks are there, small size mountains are there. Somewhere we see the mountains are there, Dome Mountain, Volcanic Mountain, Plateau Mountains are there. In India is also Mount Everest is the highest mountain, K2, and that is a Kanchi. What this? Okay, literally don't see that. A K2 and Mount Everest, and different the valleys are there. In this way, this is information about the different landforms. Now we move towards the hydrosphere. What is meant by hydrosphere? 2/3 Earth's surface is occupied the hydrosphere. Means the more than 70% portion of the Earth is covered by the water. This much the large portion on the Earth we see, that is a hydrosphere. In the hydrosphere, it means what that whatever the surface is there, that 70% surface is covered by water. In that water, it means somewhere water we see, somewhere ice is there, somewhere groundwater is there, water vapors in the atmosphere also there. All together it is called as the Earth's hydrosphere. That hydrosphere, it means that water, some water we see on the Earth's surface, some water underground the water we see that, and some water in the atmosphere form. That also it comes in the hydrosphere is there. Now see that most of the water in the oceans, whatever the water we see on the earth, that most of the water it is present in the only oceans are there. And in the oceans, the current tides are there, waves are there, are formed in the oceans. Ocean, that is the water is a salty water. All you know that. There are the 5 types of the oceans are there. How many types of the oceans are there? 5 types. How many continents are there? 7 continents. Number that you have to keep in mind that. Number 1, the Atlantic Oceans are there. This is the second largest ocean, and this ocean is the very busiest ocean. Pacific Ocean, it is the largest ocean, and it is a circular shape, and it is connected with the Arctic Oceans also. Now we see that Arctic Ocean is there. Indian Oceans are there. Now it is touched to the India that, and it is a triangular shape of this ocean. Southern Ocean is there. In this way, the 5 types of the oceans are there. All names you have to keep in mind, and you find out where these oceans on the earth. Now let's see. I want to show you the picture of the oceans are there. Now you see that Southern Ocean is there. Atlantic Oceans are there. Indian Oceans are there. Pacific Oceans are there. Arctic Oceans are there. And this is the Pacific Ocean. The Pacific Ocean, it is the largest ocean. And and Atlantic Ocean, it is the second largest ocean. That now you see the continents are there. How many continents are there? That you see that the continents and the oceans, 7 continents are there. South America continent, North America continent. This is the Africa continent, second largest continent in the world. Asia, it is the biggest continent, largest continent. Europe is here, that is Europe. Now the whole this Europe is suffering from the coronavirus. That many, England, Spain, France, Italy, all these countries are facing the problem of the corona. Europe countries are there. Now you see that this is Australia continent, smallest continent in the world. In this way, now you have got the information about the 7 continents and the 5 oceans are there. Understood? This is Antarctica. Downside it is there. Antarctica, it is covered by the only ice is there. No human life, No, but some again we can see there also that is a biodiversity. There also some we see that some life is there. Now next come to the point. In the after the oceans are there, some coastal regions are there. Coastal region means what? That coastal region, it means the land along the margins of the ocean is called like the coastal region. Means the near the oceans, whatever the sides of the ocean they are, that is the shores of the ocean, or that is a border or edge of the ocean. In that border edge of the oceans also some water is there, and that what are that water bodies are there, that are different shape, size and form the along with the coast is there. Now see that these are also called as a parts of the oceans also there. Sea, it is a part of the ocean. Ocean is a big and sea is a little bit small is there. Bay, the Bay of Bengal, you know that. Strait, Gulf, Creek, these are also small narrow things are there. In Marathi we can say Khadi is there, Gulf is there. Gulf means that is a 5 miles long and 800 feet, that is a deep. And creek, it means that is a small river like Bay, or lahan, that is a stream like that, it is there. Bake, we can say that. In this way these are the all the oceans, and that is a coastal water bodies there. Now we come to the point surface water. Surface water, there are the many streams of the water over the land. This water is not salty but fresh water. Surface water, it means that which water on the only land is there, and this water is called as a fresh water, and that water is not a salty water. That is, what are the freshwater bodies? We will see that. On the earth, we see the freshwater bodies are there. Reels are there, brooks are there, and streams are there. Actually, these reels, brooks, streams, all these are, all these joins each other and to form the rivers are there. It means these things are small than, these things are the water sources are there, but they are the small than the river. That whole, that is reels are the very small, that is small inside, small quantity water, that is and that water is flow is there. Brook is also flow, but in small quantity that water is flow is there. Streams also, that is a flow, small than river is there. When these reels, brook and streams, they come together, they combine and to join together and they form the rivers are there. And these rivers again it join to the another river is there. Let's we see that. And what remain, that river is the biggest water bodies are there. After that, waterfall. What is a waterfall? Have you ever seen the waterfall? No. Somebody seen? See that. When in the some places of the river cascades down a sudden draw, it forms the waterfall. It is there. In some in Nanded is also near the Kinwat Sahastrakund one, that is a Dhabdaba. It is there. Waterfall. It is there like that. Now the lake and pond, they are the water collected naturally low-lying area. Where the low-lying area it is there. In the rainy season we see that somewhere somewhere that water is collected naturally. Where the low-lying area, and that we can say the pond. Lake is bigger than pond. Now see that what are the tributaries. Tributaries, it means that rivers when joined to make a bigger river are called the tributaries. And ultimately all the rivers flow into the oceans are there. Now we see the next. Now we see that water in the form of the ice. Some whatever the water we see on the land, that some water is in the form of the ice. Now see, when the water droplets freeze in the clouds, they come down as a snow. In the water cycle process, due to the evaporation, water vapor, it goes upside and it forms the tiny drops, and somewhere it is a more cold, that time it is, that is a very due to the more cold it is there, it forms the snow, and somewhere the snowfall it is there. In the some areas, if you go in Jammu Kashmir, where the cold regions are there, the snowfalls are there, and when the snowfalls are there, that is layers of the that the snow piles up. Somewhere that is a piles of the snow, that is it makes, that is a piles, it collect one place there, and they collect in the low lying area and becomes an enormous size, and after this size the huge mass slips down a slope at a very slow speed there, and this is called as a glacier. Glacier, it is, that glacier, it is in the form of water, means too much water is there, but that water is in the form of ice, and that is called as a glacier. The huge mass of the ice that slips gradually over the slope at a very slow speed is called as the glacier. Now next point, icebergs are there. this is also in the form of, this is also water there, but water is in the form, when we see that water is in the three forms are there, we see that water is in the liquid form, water is in the solid form, water is in the vapor form, that is a gaseous form. That these three forms of the water, it is considered as a water only. That there are the huge blocks of the ice floating in the sea, and they are called as the icebergs. In the winter season, if you see in go in the Jammu Kashmir, you know that rivers also, in the rivers also we see the big that is icebergs are there. In the sea also we see that it means the huge blocks of the ice floating on the sea or floating in the water, that are called the icebergs. Next point we will see what is the groundwater. What is the groundwater? There is a lot of the water stored in the underground layers of the rock. This is very important. You know, underground is a very important, that somewhere underground in the summer season we don't get any underground water, because due to the more summer is there. But underground water, it means that the water which is underground and that store that water on the layers of the rock, that is the underground. That water is, you know, that water we get from the bore wells, and we somewhere dug the wells. From the wells and bore wells we get the water. Somewhere we get that water from the lakes also, because lakes and wells get the water from the underground springs are there. Now you see, this is a well, how this well it is there, well, from the well also we get the water is there, and this is a bore well water is there. From the bore well, that is a hand pump, through the hand pump we pull the water from the ground there. This also we see in the rural area there. Now we come to the next point. What is the biosphere? What is the biosphere? Bio means life. The spheres means that is earth, globe. In the biosphere means bio means that is a life, and that is on the earth where we see, where we find the life is there. Generally we find the life that is everywhere on the earth. We find the life in the atmosphere, we find the life in the hydrosphere, we find the life in the lithosphere is also there. Bio includes, it means that is the plants, animals, microorganisms, means all types of the living beings are there. We see living things in the lithosphere, hydrosphere, and the atmosphere is there. Exact, we see that biosphere means that all types of the living things are there. The biosphere is the place where they take birth, live, and die. Means the some life we see on the lithosphere, some life we see on the hydrosphere, some life we see in the atmosphere also. There only they live, they take the birth, live, and die. Their life cycle is complete in their spheres only. But exact we see that is the importance of the biosphere. There are the innumerable kinds of the, that is the living things. That is a countless. You know that in numberless, that is lives are there on the earth. We cannot count it there. Now see that everywhere we find the living things. In untoward condition also we can see the living things, because they have the adaptation. You will say that, sir, too much hot is there. There are also living things. Yes. Too much cold is there. 0 degree centigrade temperature is there. There also we find some living things are there, because they have adapted themselves. Adaptation process they occur there. We see in the ice also, we see in the hot position also, that is a lot of rainfall. It is there living things we see there on the plain, in the forest, in the water. In desert also we see that, and in the salty sea also we see the life, you know, and in the air also we see the life is there. Several kilometers deep in the oceans also we see the life is there. Means the life is everywhere. In different regions of the earth, there are the varieties of the animals and the plants. They are the typical or specific for that reason. You know, somewhere we see that some typical animals are there. Typical place, typical animals are there. Polar region, this is a very typical, so untoward condition it is there. Generally the human beings, you know that a person, we cannot live in the polar region. But in that region, the polar bear we find it there. And in African jungles, zebra we can see that. In continent of the Australia, kangaroo is there. The regions of the hot climate, elephant and lions are there. In plants too, there is a great diversity. That some, you know, diversity means what, that I will explain that. Microorganisms are found everywhere on the earth, on land, in water, and in the air. In this way, this is a different types of the biosphere we see in the different area of the earth. That whatever untoward condition, because all these animals they have adapted themselves, and that is called as the biodiversity. All these living things interact with the space. Hydrosphere is also interact with the lithosphere. Lithosphere is also interact with the hydrosphere. That things you have to understand that. And all these living things constitute the biosphere. All animals, plants, microorganisms are dependent on one another. They also dependent on the space of the earth. Biosphere, it means that is a place where they take birth, live and die. This is the biosphere. Now I want to explain what is the biodiversity. See, biodiversity, this is a term very important, that when you will go in the higher standard, that time you will study about the biodiversity. Now this lessons, the biodiversity information, it is not given. But here I am explaining you that. Bio means life, diversity means that is a variety. Means the variety of the life we see there. This variety of the life on the earth and its interdependence is called as the biodiversity. Variety of the life is there and all they are interdependent on each other. Biodiversity means it refers to all the variety of the life that can be found on the earth. Plants, animals, fungi and microorganisms, as well as to the communities that they form, the habitats in which they live there. Biodiversity, why the biodiversity is important? Biodiversity is important to the human for many reasons. Ecological life support. Biodiversity provides the functions of the ecosystems, that they supply oxygen, clean air and water, clean air and water, pollination of plants, pest control, wastewater treatment and many ecosystem services. Biodiversity has a fundamental value of the human because we are so dependent on it, our cultural, economic and environmental well-being. Food chains should not be disturbed. We should not disturb any ecosystem, pond, forest, mountains, grassland, and these are the ecosystem. First, you have to understand biodiversity. It means the variety of the animals, plants, they live together. We should not disturb them because all these are the things are depends on each other. Because the food chain is nothing but this is also biodiversity. If the biodiversity is strong is there, then all the living things they would be strong in position. If the biodiversity it is, that is, if you are disturbing the biodiversity, supposed to be forest is the biodiversity. In the forest, varieties of the animals they live there. If you are cutting the forest, if you are deforesting, if you are doing the deforest, what will happen? That whatever the animals are there, whatever the living things are, they will be disturbed that, because they have the chain that everything depends on each other that, and that's why the biodiversity it will be collapsed. That's why always we have to take care. Supposed to be pond, small pond, it is a ecosystem that in the pond is also there, some aquatic plants are there and some aquatic animals are there, and they depends on each other. That's why we should not disturb the ponds. In this way biodiversity is playing a very important role for the human beings, and that's why if the biodiversity it is a strong and it is a healthy, then all we will be healthy and all we will survive. Otherwise all the living things it may that is a die. Now we come to the point, why are the microorganisms are the important? See that microorganisms are very important because you know that microorganisms basically you will say, sir, we don't see the microorganism, they are very small, what they will do for the nature? Yes, because the microorganism they are doing important work for the nature, that they are cleaning the nature, that every sphere of the earth they are the microorganisms, and these microorganisms perform the important functions of the degradation, and they also occupy the important place in the food chain. What is mean by degradation? That is a decomposition. Whatever the every day, every moment we generate the waste and we throw the waste outside, and us one we have to piles of that. Who degrade that? Who decompose that? Means the decomposition of the waste it happens by the microorganisms. Whatever the waste is there, that is what debris is there, and that is decomposed by the microorganisms. Means that cleaning the nature by the microorganism. The dead and decaying plant and the animal matter is converted into the soil and mineral by these microorganisms. Supposed to be dead animals are there, decaying plant is there, and animal matter is there. You know that our human waste is there, animal waste is there. Who converted this? This matter can be converted into the soil by the microorganisms. Decomposition process is there. If the microorganism it would not be there, these dead animals, decaying plants, animal matters, who will decompose is there, and definitely that it will be very dangerous for the human beings. That if there were no microorganism, huge piles of the debris or the waste could not, could have piled up everywhere on the earth. And after that, what you will see that pollution is there, air pollution it will be there, water pollution it will be there. That's why the microorganism is playing a very very important role in the nature. That everything it is decomposed. That today we have the body, after that tomorrow that human beings also buried in the soil. Then after 2 months after that, you see that human body totally it will be decomposed, it will be eaten by the microorganisms. It means that the nature is cleaned by the microorganisms, because that's why they are very important. Therefore microorganisms are very important organisms on the earth. In this way, I want to stop here. May God bless you. Thank you.